Hello, welcome everyone, viewers and listeners, to the Partnership Publishing podcast. And today I've got a very special guest. We've got Laura Cowan with us, who's going to be sharing with us her new book, The Moon Child, which is coming out hopefully next few weeks. It's going to be a good one, a summer one. But we just wanted to have a chat with you and let everyone really get to know what brought you to writing the book and how you found the process. So tell us a bit about your background and how it all really came into fruition writing the book.
Yeah, hello. So I am a mum to three girls, and I have started the Girls Rising movement, which is mother-daughter retreats for girls going going into puberty and going through puberty. So that sort of age range, around sort of age 9 to 14. And I started this movement because I've been learning so much about the menstrual cycle and body positivity and everything sort of in my adult life. Mm-hmm. And I have sort of over these years of kind of, doing menstrual cycle awareness and learning more about body literacy and all of this, just constantly thinking, why on earth isn't this taught to girls, younger girls? Why isn't this being spoken about? It's just so important. So the Girls Rising movement was born because I'm a mum to three girls and I want this sort of stuff for me and my girls, and because it's sort of not around, I felt like this is the thing to bring forward. So I was building that up and still sort of working on that. And my background is that I am a drama workshop leader. I've done lots of different sort of theatre projects over the years. And also I have been a storyteller, so an oral storyteller for children for a number of years. So just naturally I have remembered and sort of spoken stories to children for a while. So one day, it was in February 2021, so over a year ago now, my oldest daughter, we thought had started her periods. Mm-hmm. And so we'd had this sort of big thing with her, and I was, kind of going through and obviously sort of doing the Girls Rising movement. Mm-hmm. I was kind of imparting some wisdom to her and everything, and bought her a little first period box and, did all these things. But I kind of got thinking that there's nothing, I want her to feel the awe and wonder of the menstrual cycle and periods. Like, it's not just the scientific or the biological kind of aspect of it. To me, what's really inspired me is the links that our bodies have with nature, and the fact that our menstrual cycle is often kind of linked with the phases of the moon, and that it isn't just about the bleeding time, it's about the whole months and all the different energy that can be tapped into throughout the whole month. And if we were more conscious of that monthly energy cycle, we'd be able to hone it better and be able to kind of be more productive in the world in a much more healthy and beautiful way. So it got me thinking, basically, that I wanted to have something that inspired that awe and wonder in, our bodies and how it's linked with nature and the moon. And instantly the story came to mind. And it came to mind in the middle of the night. So I laid in bed, and I had my two younger girls either side of me fast asleep, and I couldn't sleep, and I was sort of laying there and I was like, I've just got to get up. So I got up, made myself a cup of tea, and wrote the story, basically the draft of the story, all the way through in the middle of the night. Obviously, having three young girls, I don't have a lot of time to sort of sit and do that sort of thing in the day anyway. So it's like the perfect time, middle of the night, just get it out of my head onto paper. And I was just really sort of pleased with it. And I think because I have been a storyteller, it really flowed 12, you know, the start of it. And then I sort of shared it with a few friends. I've got a friend who's an author. I sent it to her, and then there was that kind of decision making process of like, well, this could just stay in my notebook, you know, I could tell it to my girls. But I am setting up Girls Rising movement, you know, I am wanting to inspire other, you know, bring a community of like-minded mothers and daughters together to really sort of hold and honor the process of first period and menarche together. So, you know, what a lovely thing to have for girls, you know, going, you know, starting their periods, going through the first, you know, sort of stages of puberty, even before their periods start, and to really sort of see, wow, this is a really special and magical, you know, thing, and that we are magnificent. And that's the main message in the story, is that each and every one of us are unique and magnificent, and we should love our bodies and love what they do. And you know, so yeah, this book was born. Yeah, there you go.
It's just amazing, and there's so much that I could talk about that you've just touched on, but the feeling in your writing, I mean, there's so many different elements to it. I mean, there's a loss and there's grievance, and that's so emotional. With, I don't want to say too much and give too much away, but the different emotions and feelings that young girls go through when they grow up. And I mean, growing up, it's not a thing that we talk about, body literacy. I mean, I was learning things when I was reading this book, and it's made for really young girls. It's such an important thing that we need to kind of normalize, and it's not a disgusting thing, it's not a gross thing, everyone goes through it, and we need to talk about it. And I just think it's so important what you're doing, and it's so incredible that you've got that platform already to really share it, and hopefully we can share it with the world and have everyone have a copy, you know, that's the dream. But
yeah,
it's amazing. And you were saying you've got the 3 young girls, how did they react to mum being an author and having her own book? What were
they're really excited. And actually, when we got the proof copy through, I waited to open it. I wanted to sort of open it ceremoniously. So I waited until they were all sort of ready for bed, and we had read it for a bedtime story, which was really, really lovely, and they loved it. Yeah, even the 4-year-old, you know, so listened, you know, and everything. So no, it's really great. And yeah, so you've reminded me, so yeah, the story has a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter in it, and I felt that really important as well, that sort of line. So we are always, you know, like nature, like the moon, we're all stepping into this life cycle, all of us, and we forget that because we're busy with whatever, and we think this is, and personally for me and my girls, we lost my mum in 2020, so they lost their grandma, so it was natural for me to kind of add that into the mix. And my mum taught, you know, she spoke to me when I was 8 years old. I still, you know, sort of remember the little conversation we had about periods and stuff, and she was quite open with her body. She was quite which I don't think, you know, sort of everybody has different experiences, but I knew from age 8 about periods and everything, and I have an older sister who started quite young, so my mum sort of prepared me quite early, and I think that really set me up for feeling quite excited about periods by the time I did start, which isn't everybody's experience. But that kind of female line and how we impart the knowledge and the body wisdom is so important. And I'm learning this more as I get older, how important it is to feel. And we haven't necessarily, all of us, had the greatest of foundations ourselves with our bodies, and, you know, the knowledge. So it's almost like us mums have to kind of go through that process with our daughters, you know, and with our mums as well. You know, this is a new sort of age of, you know, body positivity and period positivity as well. And so I felt it really important that the 3 kind of generations were inside the book, and that we see the life cycle as well from that sort of perspective, because it all links, it's all linking up, you know, from you know, sort of birth, childhood, you know, sort of adolescence through to motherhood, to, you know, sort of old age and the elders, and that kind of maiden mother crone energy, I wanted in the book as well. So that's also there, but very sort of personal, you know, sort of a family kind of connection, and imparting kind of that awe and wonder of the body down to the next generations. Yeah.
And I think one of the best things that captured that feeling for me was the colour that's been used in the book. I mean, it's so unique. We don't really have any books with a deep purple like this. And then I'll just flick through for everyone that's watching. Just the use of colour is so interesting. And obviously this was illustrated by Sarah Lee Wills, Happy Designer.
Yeah.
And how did you find that process, and how she captured all your thoughts in your writing?
Well, first of all, I always imagine, way before like any of the illustrations were done, I imagined this colour book. So, and I never said to Sarah, oh, you know, can you do this colour? I never said that to her. And so it just happened. It's amazing, isn't it? It's incredible how these things just, you know, happen. And I'm so thrilled with the illustrations. They are really beautiful and really emotive. And yeah, it's a really interesting process, because you've got these kind of images in your head, but you must kind of give that artistic and creative freedom to the illustrator and sort of say, well, this is what I'm, you know, imagining, but really ultimately she needs to be able to find that creative spark for her own self and to do that. So it was a really lovely process, and a back and forth, and some things I needed to kind of find, you know, images that I think I'm really thinking this for this, and so I'd find some images on like Pinterest or somewhere to say, this is the sort of feel I'm going for this particular scene, and then some scenes just kind of clicked, and some scenes I couldn't even have like imagined, you know, what they would be, and she's kind of picked up on something fantastically which I would never have seen. And it's all there in the book, the characters, I think the emotions as well, because a lot of this book, it is about, again, that cycle of emotion. It's not just about being happy or like a positive experience, about, again, that range of emotions and range of experiences. And I think it's really well depicted like that. And one of the things I really wanted with the illustrations was a light source, so the moon being this beautiful glowing light source, and there you go, she's depicted that so beautifully.
It's amazing. And even if you turn it around and stars, if you wanted to read the blurb and give everyone a bit of an idea of the characters and what's actually going on in the book.
Yeah, sure. So it says, my darling Luna, you are a child of the moon, remember this. The moon has many children, including all the stars in the sky, and girls, whispered Grandma, as if revealing a special secret, are children of the moon too. In a coming-of-age tale to be handed down for generations, the Moonchild introduces children to the concept of periods and how the menstrual cycle is linked to the phases of the moon. This story ignites imagination, building connection and curiosity to begin meaningful conversations about puberty. Includes conversation starters and tips for speaking to your child about puberty and periods.
It sums it all up, really. It's incredible. And I guess it kind of leads on to my next question. The end, the speaking to your child about puberty and periods. Have you had any other ideas for another book, maybe about something different? Have you thought about the future of you as an author?
A little bit, not massively. I have like sparks of ideas, but I'm just going to let them drift down, you know, because that's what I felt like with this book. It kind of found me. It sort of went, and it was like just the right time, and I kind of took that and went, okay, great, you know, and it just feels like it built, you know, sort of it made itself in a way. So I do have ideas. They're linked to body literacy and to the menstrual cycle, and just making that a really simple and beautiful sort of process for learning for young girls. So that's kind of the theme of any books I will do, is that. So there's loads of amazing books about, you know, kind of first period and menarche that, I mean, I collect loads because of my workshops and stuff, and they are beautiful. So I think for me it would be about making it a very sort of like this, a very sort of simple and illustrative story book. So yeah, and I'm looking into maybe tapping into the energy of the seasons of our menstrual cycle. That would be the next book, I think. There's kind of little suggestions to that in this book, like each scene has a new season in it. So we go through the seasons in this book too. And Sarah has really done well at kind of depicting those seasons in the nature.
Wow.
As well. So yeah, I think it might be about seasons and the different cycles of energy that we experience next time.
I'm just flicking through, and you've even got, you know, this cycle of life and the newest cycle of life. It's so clever. This is why it's so fun to work with you, because I learn so much.
And it's so beautiful because in that scene, and it's true that when our mothers were in our grandmother's womb, that our mothers had grown all the eggs in her ovaries that she will ever have. So the ovary that created the egg that created us was in our mother, in our grandmother. So we were in our grandmothers, and that sort of comes into the book as well. So there's that whole, like, you know, female line, the female,
and it's written in a way that young children can understand. It's not too overwhelming. It's just brilliant. And it's so nice to hear that you've had such a positive experience and managed to create something so beautiful. But would you have any advice that you would give to anyone, maybe career-wise, what you do with the Girls Rising movement, or people that are starting to write a book and maybe struggling, I don't have the confidence? Would you have any advice for?
I think my advice would be, well, I tell you what really inspired me was reading Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic. Have you ever read that book? It was a while ago now, but I loved it, and it really stuck with me as this idea that any piece of creativity, it doesn't just come from us. It's like we're kind of the vessel for any sort of ideas and creativity, and if that happens to any one of us, it's our job to do something with it. Okay, so then it becomes not so much about you and your ego and your, you know, oh, but who am I to write a book? Well, who am I not to? If it's come to me and it's done, and you know, and it's amazing, you know, and so many people have said, wow, that's so beautiful, and people cry at the end of the book, and it really touches something, then why not sort of take it out in the world? And that's for me, having girls, again, having my daughters, or you know, if I had sons, I'd feel the same way, is going, well, I don't ever want them to want to do something and go, oh no, I can't, because who am I to do it? I want to, but I have to do it by showing them. I have to put myself out there. I have to show that this is what I want to do, and this is my, you know, thing to give to the world, so that they will do the same. They're seeing it from me, they're learning from me. So I also, so just, I think anybody that has an idea, that, you know, has a passion, and it's taken me a long time to feel like that, and it's not easy sometimes, because you think, oh no, you know, it's a bit scary and everything, but no, for me now, I feel like I've got this passion, I've got this drive to do things, and I've got my skills, and I can only be who I am and give,
Mm.
you know, sort of to the world who I am. And we're not alive forever, you know, as, you know, sort of was really kind of brought home to me with my mum passing as well, you know, and it's important to leave a legacy that's right for you, you know, as well. So that came into it a lot too.
I feel like that's going to stick with me, what you said, that it's not who am I to do this, it's who am I not to do this. That's just so incredible. I think that's really going to stick with a few people. And I mean, if people wanted to connect with you and find you after this, do you have your social media and your website? What are they? And we can share them with everyone.
Yeah, so my Instagram and Facebook is Girls Rising Movement, all one word. So at Girls Rising Movement for Instagram and Facebook. And then my website is www.girlsrisingmovement.com. Yeah, and everything's on there, including, sort of stuff about the book and everything as well. So
we'll make sure everyone gets that. And we strongly recommend, in a few weeks, you'll see it on our Instagram, we'll see it on your Instagram, that you can grab yourself a copy of The Moonchild.
And it's great for like first period boxes, I think, to give to your child for a first period box to on it, because I really think as well that it's not so much like first periods, they can be, you know, sort of positive or not so positive, whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters is they are honoured and they are held. And often it's the mums or the main female carers in a girl's life that does that for them. And so what a beautiful thing to be able to kind of, you know, read this with your daughter, you know, and share that together, that they are magnificent.
Amazing. And you'll be able to find this through your website, is that right? Will it be on your website?
Yes. Yeah, it's on my website.
On our website, Amazon, Waterstones, all the big shops, you can get it there. We'll have the links below. But it's been amazing to speak with you, and I really think everyone's going to have something to take away from this conversation. It's been brilliant. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks very much, Anais. Bye.